A happy New Year is what you'd be saying in about 24 hours or maybe a little bit longer, depending where in the world you are. But look, you're here joining us in this Monday Night Live podcast, episode 60, our final one of the year. My name's Avnish Hegde, dressed in black, and I have the men in black with me. Akshay Kumar Swami and Nikhil Popa did get the memo that we're going to be looking sharp and dapper in all our attire today. Boys, welcome. It's the final one of 2024, which has been a rapid year. Nix, I'll start with you. How's everything?
All good. New venue as promised. So please bear with me, people. The net should be fine. Or it just sums up the entire year in that way, whether it is Indian cricket or whatnot. But yeah, the year has been good. Lots of learnings. And yeah, looking forward to a new year because I can't wait to forget this day. Let's be very honest.
Look, we always congregate on a Monday, so I always ask the boys how their weekend has been. Nix has been having a stellar of a weekend. Truly in nature's paradise. Could you expand on that, sir?
Yes, sir. Went to Jim Corbett to begin with, and now in the pleasant hills of Nainital. All good. Weather is good. I don't need much wind, much cold because the cricket gives me enough cold and heat. So that to me is good enough.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that just like captivates me anytime any of my friends go there, and you went there and you had that privilege to see it. Akshay, have you been seeing any tigers in Bangalore?
Lots of them, to be honest. By far the booziest weekend or week rather I've had in a long time. So it's been great fun. Not complaining. Church Street been lit up. St. Mark's Road's been lit up. Brigade Road's been lit up. Been walking a lot. I mean, not that goes without saying. But काफी सारा मजा किया. It was my first time actually celebrating Christmas out in the open. It was great fun. Must say Bangalore and Church Street was a vibe during Christmas.
How was that office party that I missed out on? Did plenty of drinking happen there? I'm guessing the guys had a time of their lives.
Yeah, plenty of drinking happened. And post that, me, producer Saab, Shaunak, and some of our video editors, we decided to go clubbing as well. So काफी सारा नाच गाना भी हुआ उसके बाद. So that was great fun.
Clubbing? Where did you guys go clubbing?
Same place, they have a dance floor, and turns out the manager there was Bengali. So it did not take more than our producer Saab's Bengali to sort of, nicely lighten the mood and coerce him into letting us, get access to the dance floor. So yeah, we did do a bit of dancing and then head back home.
Lovely. Korbo, Lorbo, Clubbo is what they would say in the city of George.
What's up with you? I hear you're in nature side, Avnish. What's up with you? How's your weekend been? How's your week been?
It's going well. It's kind of coming to that time of year where we're normally in just a good old mood and reflecting, introspecting, and all of that stuff. I think the last month or so has just been heavy drinking. It continues to be, but I've made a New Year resolution that I don't want to touch a drink at least for the first 5 days of the year because there's
okay. Then it makes more sense.
If that wedding wasn't there, then I probably would have touched a drink. I wanted to touch a drink today, and I have because, like, essentially, India and how woeful they were. It made me wake up 5:30 in the morning, like on back-to-back days. It's honestly nothing that I'm used to in my life because I always have a late start, late finish. But look, it's good that Akshay and Nix have got their weekend stories out of the way, and so have I, and wish you guys a happy new year in advance. We're going to be talking about this exact topic in the next 20 minutes or so. The Melbourne Test, the fourth test, where India have now conceded a 2-1 lead to Australia. And look, even their WTC hopes are in jeopardy. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about how South Africa pulled it out of the fire to get the points and move into Lords to play that WTC final against Pakistan. Is what they get the job done, right? Pakistan not qualified for the Lords final. Don't worry about that. Plenty of other cricket to talk about, including all of our best moments this year. There's some good choices we've made, including franchise cricket, international cricket, men's cricket, women's cricket. So you can share our thoughts in about 40 minutes time and crack on with the show by commenting and telling us how your year has been as well. Like the show as well, so it just helps the algorithm. But we'll start at Melbourne. Your first thoughts, gentlemen, because I know we have a Hindi show which is after this, and I know Somesh and Vix, because Vikas and Nix are together. We'll pull the bones out of it. But Nix, I'll come to you right now. How do you look back when you've got some time to respect in what's been truly a disappointing day for India?
Yeah, to me, the one word is unacceptable. I think the time has come to start holding people more accountable. You played 11 that wanted to bat deep. If you can't bat 3 sessions on that surface on day 5, so then I don't know what you can do. So, very, very unacceptable. I think maybe I was far more accepting of a result ever since Smith got to a ton and Australia got to their score in the first innings. But you were brought back into the game thanks to Reddy. Then you were on top at 91 for 6. I'm okay with you blowing the game. It's, happens. But 3 sessions to bat, where are your seniors? They can't continue to just play on pedigree. They'll have to start putting in performances because the team needs it. You can ask all you want of Jaiswal, Gill, Reddy, Jadeja, Sundar, but what your primary job in the team is to bat. And if you're not going to do that, then something has to come about. So yeah, unacceptable for me, sadly.
Yeah, very unacceptable. I think the turning point of the day, many would say yes, the early blows that we lost in the first session, Akshay. But I think Pant batted really well in that second session and then threw it away and had brain fade. And I think even Manis, Labuschagne and Travis Head post-match were kind of taking the piss almost that, yeah, we give him a half volley and he kind of took it, and sure, they attributed luck to it. But I think that was really sad because I think Jaiswal and Pant did so well up to that point to consolidate, and we were playing for a draw. And many people at that point in time, I think, thought, yeah, it's definitely a draw written all over it until those early blows right after tea. So do you think that's where the pendulum swung, or do you think, again, with the benefit of hindsight, it's way before that? Say, for example, 91 for 6.
I have it's a fairly loaded question in that there's no direct answer to it. I know it's very easy to say that Pant's wicket sort of changed the momentum, and also अरे मार्को भाई आप टेंशन मत लो, कोहली को जितना चाहिए हम गलिया देंगे, आप टेंशन मत लो. But yeah, coming back to this, it's very easy to fault Pant for the shot he played, and I'm not saying that Pant, I'm not defending Pant here, but you need to understand what is Pant's natural game. And it's a lot more harder than we can imagine. 100 बॉल वो अच्छा खेला था, उसका रोल था 100 बॉल तुम डट के वहां पे खड़े रहना था, वो किया उसने. And yeah, it's just one of those brain fades that a lot of these cricketers are subject to. यार होता है टेस्ट क्रिकेट, it's not as easy as it sounds, which is why I have been a lot more forgiving to Punch shot, because he played his role. His natural game is something else. He curbed his natural instincts for the longest time, but the first mistake that he almost did is what he got out, if I'm not wrong. So I wouldn't fault him for that. And now coming back to Test cricket, yeah, unlike limited overs, Test cricket में ऐसा नहीं होता कि एक moment change कर दे. There's a reason why it's spread over 5 days. Pant's moment was probably the last nail in the coffin, which is why it might seem that was the trigger that led to the collapse and all of it. But like Nikhil Bhai said, I cannot stress enough on what's up with Kohli, what's up with Rohit. Like, it's beyond bizarre right now, the fact that both of them are holding on to their positions. What was even more annoying was Rohit's press conference. Let's be honest. Like, ye match ke baad, you would still expect some honest reflections, some thoughts. At least he would be, frank about how they've played. Laga hi nahi aisa kuch. They were more than happy to protect themselves and their positions and just go all. I mean, I wouldn't say go all out, but just talk about the other mistakes. Ki, yeah, we did this, we did that, but theek hai. Like, at what point in time will they realize, or at the very least introspect and say ki, okay, you know what, probably if we think about our side's best interests, then we might not feature in the 11. And there's nothing wrong in it. This isn't a reflection of them being good or bad players. They've been fantastic players and greats in their own rights. But that does not change the fact that right now, as things stand, they probably don't, feature in the best 11 of the side. Like, Gill kya kar raha hai bahar? Like, now to some extent, you can, very rightfully also argue that why is Jurel outside, boss? Kohli, Gill, both of you either take a step back, move out. We can have 2 batters come in, or whatever it is. Like, just the way, Rohit led the side, just the way Rohit and Kohli batted. Virat Kohli shot, like, again, this is not to defend him, but at the very least, thoda field pe kuch energy dikha yaar. I can't say the same about the former. Like, and okay, we will of course talk about Jaiswal's drop catches and all of that in due course. for me, more than Jaiswal's drop catches, which I would still want to say was a one-off because he's been a fantastic fielder at Gully. मतलब जब से उन्होंने डेब्यू किया ऐसा नहीं कि this has been a recurring issue, but the way the issue was handled by the captain, यार फर्स्ट स्लिप पे आप खड़े हो, गली पे आपका फील्डर खड़ा है, माना मतलब काफी सीधा सा कैच था, माना लबुशेन बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट विकेट है, there's again no one's sort of going back on that, but यार आप ऐसे रिएक्ट नहीं कर सकते यार, and this is in hindsight. In real time जब भी हुआ, the first thing that struck me wasn't कि ये drop हो गया, the first thing that hit me was boss ये क्या reaction है, like वो भी 21 साल का बच्चा ही है at the end of the day. जो भी बोल दो, पंच भी हम, he is one of our more experienced players, sure, but at the end of the day, he is also 25, 26. They all will, like, they're still undergoing their, different stages of metamorphosis. So it'll still take them some time. And I wasn't entirely convinced with be it field placements, bowling plans, the way, the energy levels all of a sudden dropped yesterday in the latter half. It just was, it was beyond bizarre. We must just be thanking our stars कि कम से कम पहला टेस्ट हम जीत लिए, व्हाइट वॉश तो नहीं हो रहा है, एक टेस्ट बारिश की वजह से ड्रॉ भी हो गया, सो जो भी हो हम लोग 2-1 3-1 से, मतलब this could have been a lot more worse, so I'm just thankful that it isn't as worse as bad as it could have been. That's it.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I just want to, just come in here in a bit next, because I feel like even if you look at certain parts of the series, one of the constant themes which has come out, and maybe even longer than the series, is how India have bowled to the tail. And I think Rohit also admitted that he overused Bumrah in certain situations. You don't have another wicket-taking bowler at the other end, as well as Siraj and Akashdeep have bowled. They have been, of course, not rewarded in the wicket columns as much as possible. And every time I look back at moments in the series, be it Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne twice, how Australia have been in a precarious position, and people like Cummins in the lower order have just wagged and how, and I feel that's really tilted the game. Even if you look at this test, they had no right to go to 474 in the first innings, in my opinion. I feel like they've just got there purely because India have just rid the emotions, of course, failed tactically with the captain, and I thought many people are still overrating Rohit Sharma's captaincy on day 4, saying, oh, yeah, look what he's done up to that point, 91 for 6, but then go for the kill and finish them off. I mean, that's also something that really, really worried me. I would put it down to Pant. I know a lot of my friends have kind of started to befriend me because I've been defending Virat Kohli for the longest time, and I feel this test as well, and I know you guys might shoot me in the comments, and I'll take some of the comments. I genuinely think Virat, the 114 balls he played the entire test match, 28 this innings, and the previous one, I think 86 for his 36. He looked genuinely in control in the sense, okay, fine, I'm not going to whiff outside off stump. The two that he got were obviously having his name on it. And I'm not going to sit here and defend him. I feel like he would know it himself. He admitted to Ravi Shastri in that little chat that he had that he lacked discipline. And I just generally think it comes down to at least him applying himself more. I don't want to compare him to Rohit right now because Rohit has literally tried all the kind of methods to get out of this mess in terms of going at it first up, biding his time like he did today, 40 balls for his 9, but it's just not clicking for him. I would still not go as far as Ravi Shastri did on air and say 3 to 4 years for Virat Kohli in Test match cricket. I would still give him a good 12 months to see where he is in the longest format of the game. Rohit Sharma, I'm still susceptible and I'm doubtful. But look, haters, if you are there, hate me in the comments. Next, go for it. And then I'll shout out some of the comments.
Yeah, I think just to add to what you said and what Akshay said, I think India's problem has been their mindset a lot more than we are thinking about it, because the two batters who got out in the last session, see, Pant can play his natural game, but eventually playing the situation is everything. You may be able to hit 6 sixes in 6 balls, but if the game demands you to defend for 6 hours, you have to do it. You cannot get away. And see, so let's take both the examples. The first innings dismissal also, even this one, you had the field back for that shot. There is a very thin line being brave and then really pushing that line deep. I think Pant did that in both the innings. And to add to that, you look how Jaiswal also got up. What are you doing trying to pull Pat Cummins down the leg side? You are trying to hit him for a 4 or a 6. What is the mindset? Why did suddenly you start to look for a run? And that is not the only time he played a fall shot. Even against Nathan Lyon in the last session, you saw there were instances where Jaiswal wanted to drive really hard. Now, this is the guy who's crossed 50. My problem with this entire setup is the mindset is very, very different that you don't know what they are trying to achieve. It's a mixed bag. You look at how everybody approaches the Jaiswal Kohli partnership, closing ends of the day. Why would you want to run a quick single? Who benefits from that? And then you have a problem like that, and then you end up losing Virat for a lapse of concentration. Now, if you have people like Virat getting out for lapse of concentration, I mean, you are going to look at people ke, acha, youngsters are looking good, good positive for me. You don't expect your seniors ke saath behave, okay, he's looking good. Let's give him a bit more time. So I think all of this is compelling that India always selected a team to bat deep, but when they had to, they are just not being able to do so because I don't know what is their mindset, that what are they trying to achieve at times with their kind of stroke play, whether it is the batting position. How many times, I mean, before this series, had any one of us penciled this thought that there could be so many changes in the lineup despite the same batters play? That KL will bat at 3, Rohit would. This is Test cricket is not so easy that you can just play horses for courses every game. You have to really back a plan. Everybody has to play because the opponent is not any other team will allow. So, and again, I understand, Greg, that Jaiswal will learn. I'm sure he will. But then at this point of time in this game, 3 moments where India lost the game, he was involved in all 3 of them. The run out, the drop catches, and this again. We are not here sitting making him the match ka mujrim. But the point is, if we keep allowing people to make mistakes, fine, but you have to hold them accountable also. If we keep saying that Panga natural game hai, Jaiswal is young, fair, he's been India's best batter in this year. But then it still doesn't absolve him of the mistakes because Test cricket is that harsh. Rishabh Pant, as Akshay said, Rishabh Pant played so well. But first mistake you make and you're gone. Sarfaraz Khan 150 hit in Bangalore. First mistake he did, he got out. India lost the Magno Test from there. So it is how hard the Test cricket is. Can't do anything about it.
But just one thing on this, Nikhil bhai, if we take a step back and look at it objectively, sure, I completely agree with you that Jaiswal and Pant, having spent so much time, you would have expected them to apply themselves a lot more, a lot better at least. But if you have to look at it objectively, you cannot possibly fault them ahead of the likes of Rohit, Kohli, right? Given that these two are supposed to be
my only point is everybody is accountable. I'm not saying one is more accountable than other. I'm just saying it doesn't absolve anybody of it. Let everybody be on the same page that we are all at risk of, we've all erred here. That's all I'm saying. Not one is greater than the other.
Okay, I just want to come in here and say that, look, I'm not really like Rohit Sharma as Test captain. I'm not saying that again in retrospect, but I've said that as soon as he got the job almost, that he's a great T20 tactician, but Test maybe a little step too far for him. But no one agreed with me in the time. And I think it's almost like Rohit was his own legacy in terms of a Test match cricket. I still think I would give the benefit of the doubt to Virat in some sense. And I know people are having their say in the comments. Let me quickly take a few comments, which I missed out earlier. First of all, I think many people were talking about NKR. We'll talk about him. We're still going to highlight the heroes and zeros of this MCG test. Zeus going on to say Rohit Sharma might be a great T20 and ODI captain, but he'd go down as the worst Test captain. I was echoing the same thoughts. Changes needed. Enough is enough. Sharma out, saying K. Singh. Marco.
But a certain unwind guest of ours would disagree with that statement. Worst Test.
Yeah, that is true. India got whitewashed at home and should be down 3-1. The BGT, if not for rain. Brisbane Test team is out good in state right now. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we want to hear from you guys on this Monday in terms of your opinions on the Indian Test team. Is it just Virat and Rohit which needs to go, or do you see there more passengers in this team which probably need to have a good look at themselves in the mirror? Because I feel they had the match in the bag at 91 for 6. Anything could have happened. The fact that even Boland and Lyon put on a partnership like that was just in disbelief. Let's quickly then just get to those heroes and zeros that we want to talk about. Meanwhile, before I do so, I generally want to shout out to my whole cricket content team for a stellar year, but just putting out stats and numbers and pitch maps and different things like that. We'll talk about Bumrah and how exceptional he's been, but just all of this is available on our Instagram page, Twitter, Reddit, our website. So go check it out. If you actually deep dive and check out some of the articles, you'll actually see some good pitch maps for this as well. So what are you waiting for? We have absolutely everything you want, including even a Sam Konstas wagon wheel and how belligerent he was in that first inning. So, look, more stats along the way, but right now I want to discuss the heroes and zeros with Akshay and Nick. I'm with you guys in the comments. Now, we've gone for Bumrah, Konstas, and NKR to be the real beacons of light in Melbourne. We'll start with Bumrah, Akshay. I feel bad for him, bro. I mean, in fact, let me just take this time to showcase Hardik's article, which he's written. And I don't know how it's going to sit with the people in the comments, but basically, I love the title that he's chosen for this. How Rohit Kohli in India wasting Bumrah's god-like form. I mean, it is absolutely something that you guys go and read. But having said that, I'll come to Akshay about Bumrah. This man, we need to, of course, is he, forget anything else, is he the best test cricketer ever, dead or alive? Do you think it's like Bradman, Bumrah, and then daylight?
I'll put it this way: he's the best cricketer, Test, ODI, like individual formats maybe, or overall maybe best cricketer I've seen. Because पुराने वाले मैंने नहीं देखे, so अभी पता नहीं यार. Like it's only there's only so much I can say, but yeah, for sure, Bumrah is easily by far the best cricketer I've seen. Adaptability, performance across conditions, understanding his skill sets, understanding his strengths, importantly, understanding his weaknesses. These are all quality attributes that separate, the good from, the best from the good, or the elite from the best. And he's just shown this time and time again. ऐसा एक बार भी, like, okay, शायद एक बार लगा होगा वो, we all won't forget that, but there have hardly been instances when you've gone back to Bumrah and Bumrah's not delivered. But to be honest, this test actually made me, like, I don't know if I'll remember this for Bumrah's brilliance, simply because we overused him and we went to him so often. That scene will be etched in my mind, yeah. Like, he's literally down. He's down on his knees. He's like, "Ab nahi hoga." I'm like, yeah, your lead pacer, like, you're reducing him to that. That's not a pretty sight. And I just wish it did not come down to that. But for some reason, unfortunately, that's the side that will be in my mind when I think of the 2024 MCG Test. And his performances, of course, is by excellence, man. There's only so much I can say, and there's only so much words can do in terms of justice. So I just leave it to that. But that side, I just wish, भाई जो accountability की बात निखिल भाई ने की थी, I just wish there was some accountability that somehow in any, like, in some twisted way, Bumrah gets what he deserves. I just hope that happens.
Bumrah is almost like that toothpaste in a PG where everyone's extracting as much as he can out of him. And I feel like Harsha Bhogle, I think, compared him to an electric vehicle where you just need to charge every time you go distance in the game. And I think India did do that in an analogy sense. By the way, I know many people are throwing daggers at me saying, how the hell do you not have Cummins as your heroes at the MCG Test? Now, this was being charted out at 9:30 in the morning, but Cummins is part of it. It's about how you look at it. I mean, even if you look at the zeros of the MCG Test, you might not agree with us, but it's about what you guys think back home. Let us know in the comments if Pat was your hero. I think he was in some sense, because I've been, of course, appreciating everything he's done as a captain for any team, not just SRH in Australia, but like, I'm guessing if I watch him play in a park tomorrow, I know he'll do everything brilliantly. Just the fact that he stood up with the bat and how in the field, every time anyone has driven a good drive from an India perspective, Cummins just comes in the way. So look, I can't praise Cummins more, but we'll get on to Cummins in just a bit. Next, Bumrah, I know you'll talk about him in great depth in the Hindi show, so I'll give you Konstas here. Just the sheer confidence in this boy, 19-year-old, and he's revving the crowd up. Obviously, that little altercation with Virat, but the way he played, also, we suspected that he would play that way. Did he surpass your expectations? Because he's truly loving life right now.
Yeah, see, the one thing I'll give him credit for is backing his plan. That's where India are lacking. That he came in with a very clear plan that, have you ever heard anybody say that I'm looking forward to facing Bumrah? I'll look to keep targeting him. In my life, I have never heard anybody say like this. And this guy is saying this in the middle of his innings during a break on the Boxing Day Test. So clearly tells you there is enough oomph, if that's the word that you're looking for in him, that, yeah, that is why he was in the team for. And see, he did his job. He was brought in purely to put pressure on Bumrah, and he did that. Yeah, Bumrah got him out second time, but on the very first day, he went after India's, I don't know if I can say the only good bowler in the series, but he went after Jasprit Bumrah. And that is as killer a blow as you can have as an opponent, that such precise planning and such good execution, that if you look at how he played those scoops, now again, this is where the line comes in. No, if I want to scoop, he could have gotten out very easily before, but it did not happen. Now, had that happened, all of us would have been wondering, ke, oh bhai, kya kar raha hai? Why is the need to scoop Bumrah 11th ball, if I'm not wrong, of your Test career? But he did that and he got away with it. But that is a luck you made by being brave. So, uh, credit to Konstas. He came in with a plan and he executed brilliantly. He will be challenged, but for now, he's done the job. Melbourne, they'll all remember I had my uncle and cousin watching the game for the very first day, and they were supporting India, but they could not believe that there could be someone who could hit Bumrah. So I think just the fact that it was Bumrah made it even more special, and that it was not orthodox cricket. It was this not in anybody's bingo list for 2024 that they would see anybody reverse ramp Jasprit Bumrah. Even Root couldn't. But yeah, Sam Konstas is so well played.
I wonder how a certain Nathan McSweeney is feeling watching Sam Konstas going about it, but he's grabbed the headlines in the right and the wrong way. Just the fact that even him cheering up that Bay 13 crowd was something to see, because normally you think 19-year-olds are timid and they're almost a deer in front of the headlights when they enter international cricket, but this guy's like, bring it on. Even when in that final innings, Akshay, when Konstas was under the lid, right in front of Yashasvi in terms of stopping those cracking cover drives, I'm just like, dude, this guy has balls and he has big ones as well for his age. Sachin fan saying, to be honest, Konstas was very poor, just that he got lucky in Australia's played mind games. Look, I'm just saying, and from a context perspective, you're playing your first test in arguably the biggest crowd cricket's ever seen in Australia. And for him to deliver that 65 ball cameo of 60 was brilliant. And just to get into the game as well, revving up the crowd and stuff. Obviously, we're not saying these are heroes. This is just our perspective. MNL, take it with a pinch of salt as well. By the way, we will talk about a 21-year-old next, which is, of course, Nitish Kumar Reddy. And he has made me shed a tear or two this weekend, and not just by those reels, but even with his parents there and just the whole story. It's always good to see any great story in sport. Akshay, how much did he resonate with you, especially with that ton and so many stats? Forget the stats, just the pure beauty of why we watch Test cricket and stories like this from NKR's perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a part of Nikhil Bhai's Underdog FC. So just to see newcomers come good, that's all. That's all, to be honest, I live for. I'd any day happily take, newcomers scoring tons for, Virat Kohli, jo bhi bade naam hai, kisi ko bhi, matlab, in a blink, in a blink of an eye, I'd happily, transfer or whatever you want to call that, redeem any of those knocks for one of these. It was just one of those knocks that really makes you feel very warm. You want to see youngsters come good. There was so much chatter around the fact, यार youngster कभी खेला ही नहीं है, सीधा हम लोग टेस्ट डेब्यू उसको जाके ऑस्ट्रेलिया में करा रहे. Is it really worth it? Is he ready for this stage? Will he be up for it? There were so many questions asked. The guy just showed that he's made for it. Yeah, like the not just the way he played, but the calmness he exuded during the course of the innings. Because we have to understand, ऐसा नहीं था कि score 200 पे 1 था या 300 पे 2 था, pressure ही नहीं था, he could आराम से bat himself in and all of that. 196 for 6, 221 for 7, a deficit of more than 250 runs when he was batting with Washington Sundar wasn't going to be easy. The fact that he was able to actually play himself in, and importantly also bat very well with the tail, barring one or two, obvious, I won't call it mistakes, but obvious mishaps with while batting with the tail-enders, it was pretty much flawless. Yeah, the way he batted, the way he paced his innings, knew when to attack, knew which balls to attack. Something Washington Sundar also spoke about in that day's post-match conference. Post-day conference, where he said the same thing. He knew when to attack, and he also knew which balls to attack. It wasn't he was attacking for the sake of it. He was probably one of the only batters in this test match who was more than happy going after Scott Boland. The guy was getting seam movement for fun. And despite that, NKR was more than happy to go and take the attack to him. And that was very heartening to watch. Although slight aside, I don't know, I might be in a very small minority, तो पहले से disclaimer दे रहा हूँ, unpopular opinion. I did feel कि वो थोड़ा मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा dramatize कर दिया. I know हम Indians हैं, हमें Bollywood पसंद है, but I just felt कि they went after the story and that a bit too much. I felt they could have just focused on the player and the knock itself and not necessarily be too melodramatic about it. But ठीक है, at the end of the day, the guy just the way he played, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Fingers crossed. Hopeful to see a lot more of him. Once again, I'll have to flex. I won't stop flexing this. Avnish would know this. Last year, Hyderabad, before he'd even made this IPL debut. Arshdeep sir से मैंने बोला, मतलब बोला भी नहीं था. It was more like, sir, I'm really looking forward to Nitish Kumar Reddy's board. I told him, and we actually spoke about him for a good 15-20 minutes then, and very, very happy to see him come good. Just fingers crossed he'll continue flourishing. We all as in Team India is in dire need of a proper pace bowling all round, and this guy really seems it.
Yeah, I mean, well summed up. And I'll, of course, get Nix's thoughts about NKR and this appreciation club that we're having of Nitish Kumar Reddy. But to be honest with you, I generally felt that the temperament word, and I know Noodle Hacks with Vasant was quick to point that out, but that was the word I uttered as soon as he scored that 100. And I feel genuinely, when you're looking at some guy who's shepherding the tail and batting so lower down in such an intimidating partisan crowd at the MCG, I feel he's probably had the best ever maiden 100 from an Indian Test cricketer that I remember for a while. I think it'll probably be the best, a second to none in terms of who's enjoyed that moment more, in terms of just up against the Aussies in their own backyard, a deficit of so much, coming in so low down the order. So all of those things said and done. I don't know why Akshay is giving me a cheeky smile.
I was thinking, I do have one in mind. I don't know if it's maybe because of where I was at that point in time. KL Rahul's maiden 100 was also something that was very close to my heart. And I was also in Bangalore. I was in a boarding school back then. So बहुत मुश्किल से देखने को मिला था. And we all were like, who is this lad? Yeah, we know he's from Karnataka, but who is this guy? पहला मैच अच्छा नहीं गया. There was so much going around. And the fact that he also scored it at MCG. Melbourne में ही मारा था ना उसने भी.
Yeah.
So we might have just thinking, yeah.
Because I think that was a test where he got a duck and then he got 100 in the second innings. But with NKR, it just resonates more with me purely because I'm an all-rounder in some sense. And I feel like just batting lower down the order with the tail and all of that stuff just made it much more appreciable. A good to great going on to say, I would like NKR to walk in at 6 going forward, but above that slot in the top order doing so well, add extra pressure on him. There were more comments coming about NKR. One great thing about him is the clarity of shot selection against particular bowler. No second guessing the shots or defense for that matter as well. Absolutely spot on in your take there, good to great, because even in the build-up to his 100, he knew exactly which ball he would go for. And there could have been chants from the crowd saying, come on, go for it. The whole camera was focused on his dad and his family that moment in time, but he was just so calm, and it comes down to temperament as well. And then for the fact that he played that hero shot to get his 100 was brilliant indeed. At what batting position do you see him get promoted in the future? Look, as long as he has a future, now he's bought time. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in England because he'll definitely come handy over there. The kind of batting prowess NKR showed in the first innings, expected that he would spend some time in the second innings. Anyway, a great prospect. More than the runs, I love the temperament for the guy. This is what I was saying. Let's get Nix's thought about this because Nix, he did get a couple of 40s and already kind of dazzle us. But this 100 vindicates him in the longer stead, more particularly because it's such a rare breed in Indian cricket. So we're very quick to celebrate an Irfan Pathan, Hardik Pandya, and now a Nitish Kumar Reddy.
I think Nitish Kumar Reddy, the batter, is someone that I don't think any of us doubted after the first couple of games itself. So more than happy for Nitish Kumar Reddy to be playing probably purely as a batter, if you may add. So see, that is the catch with this Indian cricket team right now. They took a risk with NKR's batting potential, and it came off. But now that it came off, it meant you had to rejig everything around and taking care of Nitish Kumar Reddy. So he's probably the only positive to come out of all the experiments that India have done. Now, they did really well with Dhruv Jurel in the England series. So that was a very good positive. And now Nitish Kumar Reddy is another positive to come out. In terms of role clarity, and this is what is my game plan, and I'll execute it. So in terms of role clarity, I think he and KL Rahul have been India's best batters. Jaiswal, of course, had a great test in terms of 280. So he's getting up that chart. But completely agree with both of you in terms of the thoughts that even against Nathan Lyon or against Pacers, very assured, very measured. In fact, I'll go on to say I was slightly surprised that he came higher up the order because I thought he played much better with the tail, and maybe Sundar has taken tail lessons with Jadeja because I didn't quite understand what was happening with Sundar and the tail. But it just tells you how much from a 20-odd-year-old, if you're expecting so much, you're talking so much about the temperament and stuff, it infuriates me that despite all the flaws in this very team, an NKR, a Bumrah, a Siraj, they allowed you to get back into the game. And still you could not have the seniors come in. I think that is something that will stay with me for a long time. That I know we are talking about NKR as a hero of the day, but the catch is you've had these heroes. India have had these youngsters come good. They need to really support them as well. So well done to NKR. Hopefully, as you said, in England we'll definitely see him probably batting at 7 or 6. Who knows? But yeah, we'll have to pick to take 20 wickets first. So that is also something that India will have to look at.
Yeah, that's a very valid point that you make there. And I like the summation of both Nix and Akshay about NKR and giving different perspectives. Some good shouts in the comments as well with regards to what you guys think of NKR in terms of the future prospect, how he could be, of course, further, not just wrapped in cotton wool, but also given that freedom to express his self in this format more than any of the other formats. Let's move on to the zeros of the MCG Test. And I know many people will be like, why isn't Virat Kohli in there? At least he did his bit in the first innings. And I generally thought that partnership with Jaiswal Kohli before that stupid run out. And many of y'all thought that it was Virat's fault. Like, I know it's the non-strikers. It's not the non-strikers' call, beg your pardon, and it's Jaiswal's call. But like Nick said at the start of the show, why would you want to take a quick cheeky single when you guys are milking the bowling? It's the kind of penultimate stages of the day. There was no need for that quick single. He hit it too well. The only reason I would see him take a quick single is like early on in his innings, just to get off strike and like make the bowlers change his line and length. So I feel like instead of blaming Virat there, blame Virat for his whole particular dismal showing with a bat in hand. As soon as I say that,
Probably Nikhil जो telling Avnish कि अब तो सुधर जा भाई कितना कोहली को डिफेंड करेगा.
No, indeed. By the way, Path is asking good questions. But remember, if you don't take your questions, there's always a 12-man section, indeed. Avnish, quick question. Head was the one who took punt and changed the match, right? Yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, I'm putting Marsh in there as well because he did a few great things in this series, but all as a fielder. He was just a specialist fielder, I feel, for Australia more than anything else. Rohit is someone we want to definitely address too right now. I have no idea. It's not even coming from the place that I'm recording, indeed. Right, let's talk about Rohit Sharma, lads, because Rohit Sharma, I mean, generally shit show with the bat continues. And 40 balls for his 9, like I said, falling to Cummins, and Cummins versus Rohit just goes on to be a different storybook altogether. I mean, look at the numbers that he's had against his counterpart. 8 times now Cummins has got him out, which is ridiculous. And then when you take a look at some of the other plaguing numbers of Rohit, it doesn't bode well for any of the Indian fans watching this. Even with Virat there, 21.83 as an average, it sums up a shit year for all of them. So yeah, I mean, the stats paint a picture, but Akshay, how many times have we sat in a Monday Night Live podcast talking about Rohit Sharma's pitfalls in Test cricket? And I don't want to go down that path, so let's really keep it quick with the Indian captain. Sydney, do you think he will be selfless and put himself out? Because what he's done in this Test, let me just tell you, is ruin even KL Rahul's outing as an opener down under. Because he just thought, okay, I'll go back in and it's just hunky-dory and I'll get away with it. I just feel, bro, like if he wasn't a Mumbai cricketer, do you think he would have been getting this kind of long rope?
Okay,
Let's
okay.
call it
I'll
what it
answer.
is. Let's
Sorry,
call it
sorry.
what it is. I know people will be like, oh, yeah, just like, what you're doing is defending Virat and like loathing is a Rohit fan or whatever. But like, generally, talk to me about Rohit Sharma in terms of how much of a longer rope he could get from the management, from the BCCI, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy for Rohit Sharma. Before that, a couple of things. One, you relax with Vasan. We have seen your question. We'll take it up in 12th man. Don't worry, we've seen that question. Avnish will take it up during 12th man. Also, I'll actually want to include Virat for my zeros of the test as well, simply because of expectations versus whatever performances he's actually come up with. They haven't been anywhere close. Okay, I don't know what's happening here. Okay, thank God, now we are back. Yeah, it's just been a very poor showing from Virat Kohli. If you remove that century in Perth, which a lot of people uh, were more than happy to just brush off, saying, "Arey yaar, wo kis innings mein tha, kya surface tha," and all. Even then, despite that, वो century को अगर आप मतलब थोड़ा side में रख दो, he's done nothing much, and practically nothing of consequence. So it's important that we understand, and for me personally, at least, like Virat Kohli himself has not been the greatest. The only reason I might give him a slight benefit of doubt is ठीक है, at the very least on the field थोड़ा energy कम से कम कुछ दे रहे हैं, which right now I don't even think is the bare minimum यार. मतलब ये तो bare minimum के भी नीचे जा रहे हैं हम लोग. Like you cannot average as low as Virat Kohli does. Like in the last 5 years, the guy has the second lowest average for any test batter who's batted as many innings as him, and he's only above Zach Ronnie. That's not a name you need to be proud of, यार. मतलब बहुत ही खराब numbers है, but of course.
Is there any way you can defend Rohit Sharma and his allegiance of fans? Is there any way you could probably pick up the
Absolutely not.
person?
He averages below 25 or 26 or 27 in the last 12 months in Test cricket. That's not good enough for a Test opener, yaar. Clearly, it's caught on to him. He's not getting any younger. Cup 1986, so he's already 20. He's 38 years old, and he's turning 39 next year. Akshay, as a fan, just tell me this lapse of concentration isn't a fair excuse for the experience, right? First of all, lapse of concentration किसके लिए ये बोला जा रहा है? Who's using that excuse for Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli? So I don't know. Rather than blocking for 15 overs and scoring 9 or 40, I'd have happily taken a selfless 6. Bhai, 60 or 40, आपको लगता if I wish the choices between Rohit Sharma was to score a 60 or 40 or a 9 or 40. It's not as simple as that, uncle. Like, which is why I don't know. Probably he's just gotten so used to just giving brisk starts to his team. The whole idea of how actually a test opener bats has probably gone missing with him. I'm just speculating here. I'm not saying this is the reason or that is the reason. Age, I definitely think, like, wo reflexes maybe aapko dikhta hai, the way he's going after his shots. He's been late on a couple of deliveries. I've never seen Rohit Sharma be late on anything. The one thing we've always told about Rohit Sharma, the one sort of operative phrase that people go to while describing Rohit Sharma has been that this guy has time. तुम 150 पे डालो, तुम 170 पे डाल दो, इसके पास time होता है. But you can clearly see that's not been the case this time around. And then a couple of those dismissals, yeah, like why the pull shot to Pat Cummins, the way he got out, he clearly, matlab, like that's not a shot, that's not a mode of dismissal you've ever seen with him.
No, but in all honesty, do you think this is his penultimate test in his career? Because I'm pretty sure he
This is
plays Sydney, and then in that Sydney presser, I think we might hear the inevitable with Virat. See, guys, again, I feel all you guys will absolutely like heckle me, and fair enough. I just think he buys
on
himself,
behalf of the audience, I'll heckle.
but he buys himself more time with these certain hundreds. That 186 he got in the BGT in 2023, this 100 that he got in Perth, whatever. Now and then, a string of really poor scores. And I know people would be like, yeah, bro, look at those turners they played against New Zealand and he couldn't get out of it. Similarly, in Australia, if he's not scoring runs here, where will he score runs at? The next test series is in England. So I'm still thinking, okay, I'll cut Virat some slack and give him the opportunity there. With Rohit, I don't think I would do the same. I know everyone's looking at India's next domestic home test season. That will really indicate the batting order, the bowling choices, who's going to replace Ashwin in the long term. Is it Akshar or Sundar? All of those questions will be answered. But let's just circle back to Rohit and quickly finish up the zeros with the MCG test, because we already spent 45 minutes when I've told my producer 25 minutes in the first opening segment. So next, Rohit, one word or one sentence from you really quickly, because I know you guys won't hold back, and I don't want you to hold back in the Hindi show after this, especially with a Rohit fanboy in there. If you guys know, you know. So what is your take on him, and do you think his batting frailties was the biggest problem in this test match, or do you think Rohit, the captain, let you down more?
Firstly, I don't think we've seen anything new or different from Rohit, the captain. So that is out of the way. He's always used his premier options as much as he can, and that's what you expect from any captain who has a guy like Bumrah. So that is out of the way. The batter, I think India's preparation has caught them really off guard. Uh, if they really thought that, again, this is all of this I'm saying is this is what I read from Rohit before he went to England, that he spent considerable amount of time working on a technique to play late, to play close to his body. If you think you'll go to Australia without much of that in practice, and it will come off against a attack of Stark, Cummins, and Bolland and Hazelwood, so then sorry, boss. The worst part for me has been the change. If you come in at 6 and then you think it is not working, you think going up the order is going to help you out. So again, it goes back to the point that we said earlier about lack of clarity, and you don't know what you are trying to do. It is just hoping things work out as opposed to doing something to actually change it. So again, we've probably gone down this route too often in the last 4 or 5 months, and it is shame because after the England series, Rohit has in him that okay, despite the England series, he got a crucial knock against England at home, and it felt like we know what Rohit can do. Then this last wave, maybe you need to just spend a lot more time getting ready for this format because it won't always come naturally to you. And that is something that I say for Virat as well. I cannot see my senior chasing a ball on 7th stump when you are batting for a draw. Sorry. You are a senior. I would want you to just show a lot more restraint. And it doesn't matter. That is the catch is you. It doesn't matter if you do it for 100 balls and don't do it for 1 ball. It's the 1 ball that is going to decide the game. Then you have to be held accountable.
Yeah, especially the timing of it as well just didn't bode well with him or his fans or Indian fans just prior to lunch. And they've kind of, he left a close couple of deliveries prior to that, the in swingers, and then the out swinger just did him again. And I feel like even secretly, Stark and Hazelwood are just having a laugh and be like, yeah, it's so easy to get Virat out. It's incredible. And the egoistic guy that Virat is, he should really think about this, man. Like maybe that's his resolution for 2025, that I will not poke at balls outside off stump. But it's almost like fans like you and me and various other ones around the world are just second guessing his demise now and then, batting wise. Gigi became coach at the wrong time. His two so-called stalwarts are underperforming and giving dent his legacy, saying Dr. Guddu Battery. That's a new name we've heard in our podcast. So please subscribe and like this video. By the way, we're well above 100K right now. And if you guys haven't jumped us on the community we're building on, please jump on it and subscribe right now. Freaking awesome. Good to see you. He goes on to say that there may be issues between Gambhir and Rohit before Gambhir has been appointed as head coach before 9th July 24. Rohit is 455 runs, 6 tests. I mean, I don't want to put it to that or put it down to that. It could be a coincidence. Let's quickly move on and finish the rest of the talking points of the MCG test before we tell you our best moments of 2024 and all of that. Mitch Marsh looks like a walking wicket, but he can catch absolutely everything, be it the gully or how he got punt long on. Nix, I'll start with you here. Do you think he's the one that can actually be replaced in this Australian team, or do you think he'll still get the call up to board the flight to Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka, I don't know, but I'm sure Bia Webster should play in Sydney. You can get Marsh to field. That is not a problem. You can get, that's what KKR do with Anukul Roy any which ways. So again, he's been someone who's always had a long rope and hasn't quite come off. But the catch is, that is why you want to play with legends around you. When you have so many people and every one of them keeps stepping up, your role at times this gets minimized to, even if you do it once in a few games, it works out well for you. So, Marsh is doing what Siraj has been living always well. So maybe it's time for both of them to do a bit more.
Yeah, Akshay, he's averaging what 10.43 with the bat, which is shocking. And I feel like he's not bowled that much apart from today, even though he kind of kept it tight and all of that stuff. Like, do you think Marsh is the first name which Australia could look back at the series and be like, Mitch, maybe you should just focus on white ball, mate? Or do you think they'll give him a longer rope? Because they've always been stable in terms of selections.
Yeah, I mean, of course, theoretically, you would imagine he warrants an axe, but knowing Australia and the way they usually operate, I don't see any change happening come the SCG test, especially now that they have won the 4 tests. अगर यहाँ पे एक draw भी हुआ होता तो you would have considered, replacing Marsh with someone like a Bo Webster, like someone just mentioned. But I expect them to go ahead with Marsh at least for another test. Like Nikhil Bhai mentioned, it helps that the players around him are in form, and that pretty much makes his role and his job a lot more easier. Something we spoke, like I remember mentioning this about Virat and Rohit as well. The scrutiny on these two wouldn't have been this much if Pant, Jaiswal, NKR, all of them would have been at the best of their had been in great form themselves. But because that's not the case, and you would want your number 4 and of course your opener to also contribute, that's where it's become an issue for them. So yeah, I'm expecting Australia to field pretty much the same 11, probably a change. The only reason why they might even consider March is if they feel the surface in Sydney is going to be extremely spin friendly. Like traditionally, Sydney has been the most spin friendly of all the surfaces available in Australia. So if they do look at it in that direction, now that Manus Labuschagne considers himself to be an out and out fast bowler, so they would want to go ahead with another spin option. So yeah, I mean, they can possibly look at it that way. Barring that, I see no other reason why they would let go of March for the final test.
Okay. Travis said really quickly, even though he got pumped out, had a shit show with the bat, and he's allowed to because, of course, he's just had India for breakfast every time he walks out of bat. I know he got a Boxing Day duck against Pakistan in 2023, but he's got a Boxing Day duck against India in 2024 as well. And 0-1 doesn't bode well for him. But just for the sake of pointing out his frailties, do you think Bumrah has gotten to his head, lads? The fact that now Bumrah is just like, bro, every time you walk out of bat, I got your number. Next.
It has to result into a win. All it happens, I just want it to result in a win. To me, it stings even more that Pant got out to head. And the guy did not trouble you with the bat, but you got out to him with the ball. As infuriated I was when Klaasen and Janssen got out to him in the semi-final. Leave my destiny ke bhai head he pareshan karna tha. And again, the way he got out, it's been something everybody's been saying very early. You see the difference in mindset India had when he came into the crease. Very aggressive fields. We will go short. We will make him think. That is what India have not done enough. They've not made batters think too much that they know what is going to come. They know Akashdeep will beat the bat but not bowl full. They'll know Siraj will bowl 4 good balls but 1-2 bure ball aa jayenge. So it cannot just be one guy. So for all the reasons for Head to be a 0, he eventually was one of their heroes on the final day. So yeah, that's how cricket works.
Let's see how he does in the pink test in Sydney, because I feel India still have a slither of a hope to make the WTC. Remember, if they do win the Sydney test, India, they make it 2-2, and then they hope Sri Lanka to have a 1-0 win when Australia go there to just play their last 2 games of the WTC cycle, and it'll be South Africa, India. But again, I'm hoping against hope that it works out that way. We're done and dusted with the MCG test review, but more analysis, rants, banter, comments to take in the Hindi live show in about an hour and a half from now. I think Vikas and the boys have slated that at 10:30. So go give them some love and tune into them, because we're not done on this Monday. And we're far from done on a Monday Night Live podcast as well. There's still about 40 minutes to go in this podcast for the odds. So get your dinner and like this video. And remember, tell a friend about cricket.com. It means a lot to us. We've done some great work in 2024. We'll also be reviewing 2024 right now in the next 15-20 minutes in terms of our best moments and have some fun with you guys. But before I do so, let me just point out 2 more stats from the whole India shebang. 2 important batters who've had contrasting years. Let's start with the good and how it's been this man's year. I mean, I can't believe Mark Nicholas didn't know how to pronounce his name for the longest time. Keep calling him Yashasvi. And I was just like, it's not Yashasvi, it's Yashasvi. But look at what he's done. And I think only Sehwag's got better in terms of most 50-plus scores in a calendar year for India in Test. 13 that he got in 2010, Sehwag. Jasprit getting 12 this year. So he's in good company. And we, of course, have a diamond in our midst. On the contrary, Kohli in 2024, absolutely woeful from his standards, from what his fans want to see. And he's not had a worst year in terms of test match batting in his career. So lowest batting average for Virat in a year, 24.52 this year compared to the previous, which is 2022, 26.50. Right. Lots more stats and analysis and articles that you can go check out on cricket.com. But let's move on and, of course, look back at this year and have some fun in the next 5-10 minutes with the boys and ask them 5 questions, their best moments, their best match, the best knock of 2024, the best spell, and the best player. We all have various calls and picks. We've not decided pre-show, so it could be similar talking points, but we'll stop there. In fact, my producer tells me this is also the Monday Night Live question tonight. The best cricketing moment of 2024. Get chatty with us right now and tell us how it's been a superb year. We'll take plenty of your comments in the 12th man section. I apologize if I missed it. Akshay, where do you want to start? Let's start with the best moment of 2024. Which one has it been? Because I have a few, but I'll let you boys go first.
I also have a few. To be honest, I have just 2 in mind. I'm just torn between going for one or the same 2. I know.
So
I have a no. Wait. I have a feeling yours.
Let's keep our 2 together at this. Like, okay, on the count of 3, you have to say the 2 moments. Okay.
Okay. I have a feeling ours is different. I know one of your moments, and it's not mine.
No, I think ours is same. 3,
okay, fine. Okay.
2, 1. India winning the World Cup and RCB winning the Women's World.
Okay, no, for me, WPL and March 18th, RCB, I mean May 18th, RCB CSK.
That was my best match. I've gone for RCB CSK as my best match. My best moment, I think, has to be India winning the World Cup, guys, because I generally feel that whole ICC monkey of the back thing, the fact that Bumrah pulled it out in that final spell, Sky's catch, South Africa being chokers, Barbados, all of that stuff hits me hard. So I think I'm going to go for the obvious elephant in the room. Akshay, best moment for you. Do you think you'll side with me on that?
No, I mean, I've always maintained it. Not really. For me, it'll have to be the WPL moment. Sticking to the moment, RCB winning the WPL. Just, it was icing on the cake for a lot of different reasons. It was my first time covering the WPL extensively. And then on top of that, seeing my favorite team, the team that I've, cherished for 15 years, see them, and I don't think I'll ever come close to being just as euphoric. So, it'll have to be that for me. March 18th and May 18th. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because look, I agree with why that's second on my list. We'll get to Nick's best moment in just a bit, but I understand where you're coming from as an RCB fan, because even if you cast your mind back to that whole tournament, how it panned out for us, then a crazy playoff game against Mumbai, and then beating Delhi in the final. I think they were 64 for none, and then they became 64 for 3, and then eventually 113 all out, and we got over the line by 8 wickets and how. But best moment, so Akshay and mine is done and dusted. Nick, what is your best moment? You obviously think it is the Barbados one.
No, 100% sure. No doubts there. Franchise loyalty, yes. But, I mean, you've lost a home series. You're almost losing the BGT. The only good thing that's happened in this year is 2024. Even more so because it came from 30 of 30. It's probably the only time in my life where I didn't quite think that, bhai, yahan se bhi har sakte South Africa. But they surprised me. So thank you, South Africa, for that. But this also is a part of it, because when India were out after New Zealand, South Africa was always the team that I wanted to make the WTC final, and they have. So that also qualifies as one of the best moments of 2024.
Okay, super. So best moment is absolutely a clear winner. I think many people are resonating the same in the chat. Remember, you guys are watching us on X and elsewhere. Please jump on YouTube and give us a like and subscribe and tell a friend about cricket.com. Best match of 2024, I think we alluded to it. I feel it was that whole RCB CSK game. I'll have a biased view here. All our calls are subjective. I know Nick's is just going to be like...
It's our opinion at the end of the day.
It's obviously his worst match of 2024 in some sense. I just feel like so many things happened that day, and great moments, ebbs and flows of a T20 cricket game that you would like to see it. Nix is pretending not to hear us, but that's mine. RCB versus CSK. Akshay, is that yours as well?
Is that even a question? Why? Like, this shouldn't even be rhetorical, to be honest.
No, it could be various different matches, because if we not just limit ourselves to IPL cricket, it could be, I don't know, for example, India getting close to 300 in a T20. I know it's not a great match, but just pure six hitting and defining boundaries.
But that's not a great match. It's a great innings. एक innings अच्छा था, दूसरे innings में भी अगर वो 290 मारते तो ठीक था. यहाँ पे भाई, because it was a closely fought game.
US Pakistan, the game that maybe that was a good game to watch from a neutral perspective.
Next guy, Trinbago Night Riders versus Antigua and Barbuda Falcons.
Was that a good game?
No, it wasn't. But why not? बोलने में क्या जाता है?
But I'm trying to say, what other games contest, or rival this RCB-CSK one? Because
I have a good game. Bengaluru Blasters versus Hubli Tigers. Triple super over.
Super over. That's a good game. Wait 1 second. Nick's come in here because we've left you kind of silent for a while. What is your best match of 2024, sir?
A couple of them. Sadly, both from the IPL, but so be it. Again, sir, IPL wala second. I'll skip the first one. Definitely is KKR versus Punjab. That 260 chase. I don't think I have seen something like that as clinically done. Matlab, see, we've seen high scoring chases being done, but that to me was very, very special because of the convincing manner of which. Worst match, obviously, you've mentioned enough times. Hopefully, the farewell will be taken care of next season. The second match that I am very close to is the test match that India played with Australia, women's one. Perry got out for a duck. बहुत कम होता है life में. So to me, that was one of those very pleasing moments as a cricket fan. It hates to see Perry fail, but when that happens and she gets bowled, I think it's a thing that you can't forget for a while.
Okay, fair enough. Nulax was also saying, for me, it's the USA versus Pakistan T20 World Cup. I said that as well, and I feel like there are a lot of crackers if you look at various leagues around the world, some of the international games as well. By the way, if you guys are joining us, quickly like this video. I think lots of you all are watching, but just 28, 30 likes or 50 likes here, minimum. The last podcast, the last seminar of the year. If you guys are watching or listening rather on Spotify, please give us some love there as well. All right. So let's just take a few comments before we move on to the next best we want to discuss. RCB versus SRH game conceding highest total in Pakistan, losing to Bangladesh, saying Bhupesh. John Baby Panadat saying India winning against Australia in the T20 World Cup. I remember Rohit taking a start to the cleaners there. How I wish he did that this morning, but that wasn't the case. But look, lots of great shouts in terms of best matches. We're done with moments, matches, the three more nominees or award categories that we just want to close out with before we move on to the best of the rest. Akshay's quiz and lots more. So lock and load in terms of the Monday Night Live. Best knock then, gentlemen. Category 3 of this little silly game that we're playing. What comes to your mind initially? Best knock of 2024. Is it Jaiswal's double done? Is it Anneke Bosch? And I think her semi-final World Cup knock, she played pretty well in that one. Is it Rohit and his 92 belligerent against Australia in that
How
World
you've
Cup?
not spoken about Virat?
I have a very clear one. That is Akshar Patel's knock in the final. People that doesn't even come to mind, but a quick 47 of 31 out. 20 batted higher up the order by Rahul Dravid. This time did not get run out. So for me, the first thing that comes to my mind is Akshar Patel.
Okay, I would actually side again with Nurulax Wazasan because he's taking it off my mouth right now. NKR's knock. That's what I'm going to remember it. Because like for me, I love Test cricket the most. And I feel like it had to be some award of this, had to be Test cricket related. So I'm going to go NKR in terms of the 100 that we just saw. Bhupesh saying head at the World Cup final, it hurts. I will never forget that. I mean, sure, in terms of opposition, praising them and silencing a 1 lakh crowd head is a good contender for this best knock of 2024. Akshay, what comes to your mind when we talk about batting performances of the year?
Yeah, actually, to be honest, there aren't too many that are, etched in my mind that way. Funnily enough, the one knock that I really very evidently remember. Again, it's not that the knock itself was a fantastic knock. Elise Perry versus UP Warriors. I remember that knock. I remember that knock because she broke the glass car window. I don't know. I don't have a best knock. I'm not saying that's my best knock. That came
Kohli.
Sunil Naraine's 100. IPL 100 came to my mind.
Kohli
That
76.
क्या बोला था यानसन को वो यहाँ पे भी बोलूंगा मैं.
Pope
Too
200.
many knocks. Too many
Pope's
knocks.
196. Pope's 196 in Hyderabad.
Yeah, sure. Like there are a lot of knocks. There are too many. I just don't know what would I possibly call the best knock of 2024. If I have to stick with one, oh boy, this is actually harder than I imagined. Yeah, I'll go with NKR's 100. I have to, man. Like recency bias, you say that. It's close to my heart. I'll go with that as well.
Yeah, NKR for special reasons, and we just spoke about it in the Heroes bit of the show. But sometimes when I just look at Nick's answer, I think he's nailed it right now, because that's such an underrated knock of Akshay Patel for us to get over the line in Barbados that day. So good points from all you boys. Let's move on to the fourth category, the penultimate one, before we talk about the best player of 2024, the best spell of 2024. And for me, Shamar Joseph. It happened earlier this year. We were in Hyderabad watching India-England when we were watching the highlights, or rather the live footage of Brisbane. And it was brilliant to see Shamar Joseph just run through the Aussies. We talk about cricket being such a great leveler, being such a great game in terms of spreading diversity. This is the man who's come from literally nowhere and just beat the Aussies the way he did and bowl the fire with he did. I mean, just brilliant. So Shamar Joseph, for me, best spell. I wanted to put Priyanka Patil in there, but then I thought she got a lot of cheap wickets, and now knew Akshay would say something RCB centric. So, Nix, I'll come to you, and then we'll have Akshay to say his best spell of 2024.
Yeah, just though on the knock, Akshay also actually got run out in the final also. That Akshay story is complete there. But for the best spell, I will definitely go with Bumrah at Perth. A mad spell. I don't think I saw it coming. I don't think Australia, Nathan McSweeney, or anybody else saw that coming. It's just the ferocity of it. You are getting pace, bounce. That's how people beat Australia. So to beat Australia like that in their own backyard, the only reason why we are still in the series, hoping that bhai kuch ho jaye. So to me, again, Bumrah's too many spells. If you look at it, there were so many moments involving Bumrah. Whether you talk about that Ollie Pope dismissal, they didn't quite qualify as a cricketing moment. So for me, Bumrah at Perth, probably one of the ones that would stay with me for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great spell. He's produced world-class magical spells throughout this year. You talk about even that India-England series at home. He just got us out of various precarious positions. Talk about even yesterday, the fact that he just got 3 of those Australian batters in quick time, Head, Marsh and Gary. Just brilliant, breathing fire. And how Akshay, best spell of 2024, RCB, I'm guessing.
अरे एक तो भाई आरसीबी का मैंने कहीं पे भी
Jasprit 1 for 39.
आरसीबी का एक तो मैंने कहीं पे भी नहीं लिया. I just said I remembered Elise Perry. I didn't say that was my nomination. But funnily enough,
then if he says yes, they'll slower ball to MS Dhoni, I'm going.
अरे वो स्पेल कहाँ से हुआ यार? बेस्ट बॉल शायद वही होगा. बेस्ट बॉल तो शायद वही होगा. My best spell has an RCB connect, but not in the way you guys think. It's not it's not a spell a lot of you might remember, or a lot of you would remember because it was.
Let me guess. 1 for 25, Maxwell, RCB CSK.
Arey, by the way, it was a World Cup spell. 4 overs, 4 maidens, 0 runs conceded, 4 wickets. Lockie Ferguson. I don't think that will ever happen. That's the only reason.
Against the opposition matters.
I know.
He's done what he keeps saying, every one of us. Okay? Look at the ground, look at the opposition. But now
that
looks good. That looks great on paper, but stats are for that.
अरे मेरा पॉइंट है भाई, लॉकी फर्गुसन मेरे को भी 24 बॉल डालेगा ना, इनसाइड एज आउटसाइड एज, कुछ ना कुछ लेग बाय, कुछ ना कुछ करके मैं 1 रन तो कहीं से चुरा दूंगा 24 बॉल में. एटलीस्ट दैट्स हाउ आई एम लुकिंग एट इट. लाइक आई डोंट सी दैट एवर हैपनिंग अगेन, लाइक स्पेशली इन अ वर्ल्ड कप. लाइक तुम शायद रोमानिया वर्सेस एस्टोनिया में कहीं देख लो, बट इन अ T20 वर्ल्ड कप by a country like Uganda, sure, mock it as much as you want. It's still a country that made it through to the World Cup and almost gave PNG a run for its money. I know Abhi doesn't rate PNG highly, so मैं क्यों वो बोल रहा हूँ, देखो
Who
पता
rates
नहीं.
PSG highly apart from Pramod and Charles Amini?
PNG did give a run, give West Indies a run for their money. Anyways, coming back,
Run
the
for their
reason
money
I
is
said
like
that,
what he did, just ran
literally
for their
running
money.
behind. No, but the yeah, exactly. That's my point. I don't see that record ever being broken. So I'll have to go with it. यार 4 over 4 मेडन नहीं बनता है रोज. 3 ही नहीं बनता, 4 तो दूर की बात है.
And after all, Lockie Ferguson is an RCB player, so what are the coincidences of that? So
नहीं, इसीलिए बोला it's not because first of all I still cannot believe that he actually did play for RCB, but anyways.
he should have been retained, to be fair. But anyway, let's move on. If you guys are joining us, we're discussing all the best moments of cricket which has happened in this year from each of us. Just get chatty. We're finished with 4 categories. This is the last one before we move on to the rest of the rest. Best player 2024. I think it's the obvious one. At least I'm going to go for the obvious one in Jasprit Bumrah. I just generally feel the fact that he's bowled us to a great series win at home against the Bazball Ben Stokes, then to get us the World Cup, then to put us in contention with the BGT and the WTC and all of that. I can't think of a better player. If anyone rivals him, I'm thinking, who, yeah, like maybe Jaspal, because he's just stamped his authority in this year in terms of test match cricket. But again, that's with an Indian perspective. Nix, if we have to go global, because before I ask you for your first pick, I just want to ask you for your global pick. In gun to your head, you can't pick an Indian player. Who do you think that player would be?
Very short sample size, but I would probably go for Coming to Mendes.
Okay, great.
Because I really loved what I saw of him. Felt very, very, very much at home. And again, Test cricket format, तो थोड़ा bias वहाँ पे आ जाता है. So to me, if I had to pick on gunpoint, as you said, someone apart from Jasprit, then yeah, Coming to Mendes for me. Pat Cummins might eventually get there, but ठीक है, with time.
मेरा Cummins ही है. Like outside Bumrah, मेरा Cummins ही है. Like captain, as a captain जो किया है, batting में भी, like this game, classic example, दोनों innings में 49, 41, taking 6 wickets as well. That's exactly what he does. So yeah.
And generally for him personally as well, Akshay, just the fact that he got SRH captaincy, went for a lot of money, proved his worth and proved his salt as an IPL skipper, taking them there, fine. They finished runners up, but still like laid an imprint in the IPL and how it's being played right now. So Cummins is a great shout. Zeus saying Joe Root hands down. Gulbati Nahi for masterclass was Bangladesh saying Arnav Singh. Santosh Urappa agreeing with Nick saying Kamindu Mendes. Nitin Muthuraman saying Jaspal. Bhupe saying Bumrah and head. And closest players, Brook in head indeed. And John Baby saying Bumrah, just gave him the ICC Cricket of the Year, what he's carried India alone on his shoulders. So that's why I went for Bumrah. And many people, I think, would. It's just the obvious in the room. So that was our basic year in review 2024 cricket.com. Plenty of other categories we want to kind of come with and be cool and quirky and comical with, but we don't have the time for it in this show. But we will, of course, give you more going forward. So subscribe to cricket.com and tell a friend about us. Right, time to move on to best of the rest. And there's so much to talk about, including the Vijay Hazare, the Big Bash League, and of course, that small win that South Africa got to enter the WTC. Right, so the WTC final, we understand that South Africa will be playing either India or Australia or Sri Lanka, but I don't think that's the case anymore after Australia's win today. We understand that South Africa needed just the one test to be won in this 2-match test series against Pakistan, and they got the points and they got the win. And at one point in time, they weren't going to win, or they were going to win, they weren't going to win, and then they were going to win. So it was crazy. Mohammad Abbas getting an amazing sort of bowling figures under his belt. But let's start where? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at how the game ended? Did you guys think at that point in time, Marco Jansen and Kagisa Rabada will be your guys to get you through over the line? Because 99 for 8, chasing 148, it's not the most comfortable. Next.
They're never comfortable. Even more so when you are a neutral fan watching it with network going on and off, done already or it's not. Uh, Absolutely mad Test cricket. I think 2024, to be honest, was a year of Test cricket. To be honest, so many great games across continents, so many teams just surprising you with the way they've come back into the game. So very fitting that you have Babuma as one of those images because again his dismissal, his presser is also something that was very interesting. Where he said, "You know what I do," and that's why I did what I did. But happy for Rabada. I think he's found his mojo back in Test cricket, which is very very important for Test cricket. So happy to see him doing his job with the bat because been the best used or he hasn't done justice to his potential. So good on him to close the game out and hard luck to Pakistan. I think winning in South Africa is something like a hoodoo. You don't know who will break it, but they almost did it. So yeah, hard luck.
Yeah, I was watching its and bits of that game, and I feel like there was some really shit dismissals. Even South Shakil, he was batting beautifully. He got a full toss, couldn't pull it away, and he got an LBW right in front of the wicket. Babar as well, I think, was looking good, and then he just uppercut that to Corbin Bosch when there was a plan in place, and he kind of got trapped in how. So lots of things to like from a Pakistan perspective. The fact that I was actually a Pakistan cricket fan for those 4 or 5 days because I'm just like, yeah, at least they'll bail us out to get into the WTC final. That wasn't a basis. South Africa through. And interesting bowling lineup that South Africa dished out for this test, Akshay. They got for Corbin Bosch making his debut. They had Dane Patterson, who we've seen before, Rabada and Anthony. Do you think that's going to be the looks of things comes Lords in the WTC final, or do you think they'll again go back to their tried and tested paces and Nokia stuff?
Caution also यहाँ पे यार Pakistan home test so it's a lot more easier. I don't see him playing there, but anyways, either ways, good to see South Africa finally, putting their hands up and grooming a couple of gun all-rounders. बहुत मिस किया था कार्लेस पॉलर क्लूसनर मतलब इतना टाइम हो चुका था probably I don't even know the last like half decentish all-rounder to come back. Peklokwal comes to mind. बस वही है जो भी था. So it was great to see bat ball दोनों में contribute किया था. So that was fun to watch. And more than anything though, firstly Pakistan, I'll have to say the bowling was so good यार. Mohammad Abbas, Khurram Shahzad, क्या गजब की bowling कर रहे थे. I actually got to watch each of those 4 days. Office में था and लगा के देख रहे थे. Khurram Shahzad in particular, beautiful scene presentation, great run up, and the way he was landing the ball, moving the ball in the air and off the surface. Mohammad Abbas, of course, is known for his ability to seam the ball. We all remember that ball of the century to Stokes in 2020, that COVID test. But yaar, yahan pe bhi gazab kare the. Yaar, it was so hard to play them. Like, first of all, swing, you have to, as a batter, you have to contend with swing. And then it's essentially a fast-ish off cutter or a fast-ish leg cutter. And it's so hard to play. Like, the delivery that Khurram Shahzad bowled to Tony Dazorzi, what a top nut, man! What a top nut! Like
which was given not out, which was first given not out, and then they reviewed it.
That's the second innings. First innings he was bowled, clean bowled.
Oh, correct.
Like pitch just off stump ke line pe, off stump or fourth stump ke line pe, and it swung back in top of middle. Bhai, itna khoobsurat game. Oh ho, bahut pyara tha. So it was great to watch that. So I'll have to special shout out to that. And Markram, good on him. Finally, good to see Markram, play to his potential. Bas wahi bolna aur kuch hai nahi. Like he looked very decisive, especially while playing against pacers. He clearly was batting well outside the crease. He was also taking a very good stride to just contend with the movement. बहुत confidently खेल रहे थे, and that was very nice to see. I don't think I've seen too much of Markram with decisive footwork. 2018 में उतने गौर से नहीं देखा था. This time around, he looked very much at ease, and that was also great fun to watch.
Yeah, Markram, I'll tell you what, because
sir,
go on.
Sir, you know how great 2024 has been that KL Rahul and Markram are scoring runs for the sides.
No, and that's the amazing thing, right? Even with Markram, when he looks back at this year, I think these innings, rather, the 89 and 37 that he got in this test match, is so important for South Africa's cause to make their first ever WTC final. So all the glorious moments you would have had, this is just really probably eclipsing all of them. Let's quickly take a couple of comments before we talk about this test a little just bit more before we move on. Sorry, this one we'll save for the 12th man reason. I took that again. I want to put you guys in the spot. Just read out 3 best comments you come across, each one here on your channel in 2024. I think we did that, but we'll try to do that as well for you. Good to great to satisfy your ego indeed. Just one thing, guys, before we wrap up the South Africa-Pakistan chat, because nothing much to talk about from a Pakistan perspective, but South Africa, given the fact that they've got that WTC final now to play in June next year, do you think they're deserving of the final? Ask this because they obviously wanted to prioritize SA20 for that one series in New Zealand. They still managed to get all the points, managed to be within the over 8s, not get docked for points there, and then make the final right now. So do you think they're well-deserved finalists? Nick, I'll start with you.
Not the year to think about deserve or not, because people have lost 3-0 at home. If you lost 3-0 at home, anyways, you will feel you don't deserve. So that is one team out of the way. Australia, again, they have been very good. So they'll always be there and thereabouts. South Africa had their... See, the one thing I'll credit South Africa is at least they had their priorities very clear. That this is what we want to do. And we had to do this to sustain us. It wasn't that they were mocking cricket by doing that. It was not done by choice. It was almost by force. So me, that is something that I'll not hold them accountable for. बाकी तो deserving का क्या ही करना है भाई. Now तक batting लेके we are not batting out 3 sessions. तो छोड़ दो.
Yeah, I mean, what did you make of it, Akshay? Just generally South Africa and how they've had this right or race to the final or road to the final, whatever you want to call it. Do you think they now can actually go on and win it? I mean, 2 back-to-back ICC finals. I mean, it'll be great if they get another one in Pakistan.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, South Africa in the last couple of years on both the men's and women's cricket fronts have done really well. Women's cricket, maybe 22 World Cup, 23 World Cup final, 22 or 24 World Cup final. Then men's cricket, maybe 23 World Cup, ODI World Cup semi-final, 24 World Cup final, now WTC final. So across formats, across genders, they clearly seems to be a resurgence of sorts when it comes to cricket in South Africa. So we're all here to see that. Just hope that this time around they are actually able to cross that hurdle and go one step further. It won't be easy, but I feel it'll be a great game at South Africa versus England at Lord's. दोनों के पास बहुत ही सही पेस बॉलिंग अटैक है. I know, and also funnily enough, दोनों के बैटिंग I won't say weak, but batters necessarily haven't been in form. वो सब का भी scene है. So it'll be really fun to watch that. So I hope it is South Africa, Australia, and I hope South Africa actually come good. It'll be nice to see them actually go one up on their biggest arch rivals.
Yeah. I mean, generally, I think when you look at it in the WTC scenarios, it could be South Africa, Australia. We'll just speak about that really quickly because India need to get the job done in Sydney and then hope Sri Lanka beat Australia by a 1-0 margin in that series that they play later. Sorry, I can't even say later this year. Next year, because we are literally at that time of year. We're still going to just quickly spend some time talking about the Big Bash League, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, just whip around what's happening in the world cricket scheme of things. But in terms of WTC scenarios, our boy here, Akshay, has summed it up for us. Here's what I mean.
India can make it to the WTC final. Here's how. To begin with, India will have to win the 5th test in Sydney to stay alive. Failure to win the 5th test at SCG will knock them out of the WT series instantly. First scenario, BGT ends 2-all and Australia lose 0-2 to Sri Lanka. In this case, India will finish the WTC cycle with a points percentage of 55.26, ahead of Sri Lanka's 53.84 and Australia's 51.75. Second scenario, BGT ends 2-all and Australia lose 0-1 to Sri Lanka. Here, India's points percentage of 55.26 will be higher than Australia's 53.50 and Sri Lanka's 48.71. Third scenario, BGT ends 2-all and Australia draws 0-0 against Sri Lanka. In this unlikely situation, India and Australia will be tied at a points percentage of 55.26, while Sri Lanka will bow out of the championship. However, should this happen, India will still progress to the final. Why? Because, according to clause 16.12.2 of the ICC playing conditions for the current WTC cycle, two or more teams with an identical points percentage at the end of the group stage will be ordered by the higher number of series wins. So, should the BGTN 2-all and the Sri Lanka-Australia series finish in a 0-0 draw, then, by virtue of India's 3 series wins as compared to Australia's 2, they will progress to the WTC final.
Okay, go check that out. It's available on a YouTube platform. I think it's well explained. Even though Newell Hacks with Vasant has to say something bad, but we'll
That's got to do with the live stream. Don't worry, Vasant. You can check it out on our YouTube. It'll be good to go there.
Yeah, and we can't reach the WTC final courtesy was Test captain and Rohit Sharma. There's 0% chance of SCG win for us, saying Greg, and lots more of you guys saying a lot of other things. Give you a prediction for the SCG Test. India winning it. Rohit Kohli smashing double centuries. Obviously not, mate. Like, if there's anyone pulling it out of the fire, it'll be a Bumrah masterclass again, and then I'm guessing Jasprit Bumrah will get some runs. If Rohit or Virat perform, it's just the cherry on the cake, and we get the win, and hopefully Sri Lanka do us the job. Right, we're not done with best of the rest yet, because we're still yet to discuss a lot of international cricket. We'll start with Zimbabwe, Afghanistan then, because did you guys even see the scorecard? Forget the highlights. Actually, be honest.
Yes. And I also saw the highlights for what it's worth.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Only because of Ben Karim. मुझे Ben Karim को देखना था, बाकी कुछ नहीं. Yeah.
But what was that pitch that he dished out in Bulawayo? Because for Afghanistan to get 699, and of course, mind you, they were batting in the second innings, second innings of the 10th. And when I say that, not the third and the fourth, but after Zimbabwe posted 586, Afghanistan to get 699 was just incredible. So, who is the real star of the show there? Would you put it down to the 2 double centurions, or would you put it down to all 3 of them who got centuries, even Zazai?
भाई क्या वो तो अफगानिस्तान जिम्बाब्वे में भी तो था ना, like Sean Irvine, there was Craig Williams, Ben Karim also got a 50.
Not out, no?
Sorry?
Brian Bennett also got 100, I think.
Brian Bennett got a 50. Only 2 centurions for. Oh wait, no,
3.
Brian Bennett got 100. Got 100. Yes.
Yeah.
Five
So
for
essentially, I mean, was this game kind of always meandering towards a draw because it was such a batting-heavy game?
Yeah, it was the Ahmedabad Test only played between minnows. Bas.
That's, well, one way to look at it. But speaking of Brian Bennett, he did get a fifer as well. Nix, did you make sense of any of the bowling in this test, or at least what you saw of it, learned from it?
No, I was just happy to have Rahmat, Shahidi, Bennett in my team. And Bennett has always been someone who I backed because we saw how well he did against India as well when he played. He did decently as well against Pakistan, but different format. So good. I don't know how much the pitch helps. The stuff that you're trying to do by playing Test cricket. But in a year where not many games have gone 5 days, I would take one game where people are scoring 650. They'll get their chances in the future.
The best part about the series at least has a second test. I mean, I know I generally loathe 2-match test series also, but it's at least better than just a one-off test for these minnows, dare I say. But let's see what happens in that second test, which I think starts on the 2nd of Jan in Bulawayo itself. So Afghanistan, Zimbabwe, you can catch all the coverage and the scorecards of it and analysis on cricket.com. Let's move on to more international cricket before we talk about the Vijay Hazare and the BBL. New Zealand versus Sri Lanka happening in New Zealand, and New Zealand have gone 2-0 up courtesy their wins in both the T20s. And I think their batting came to the fore. Nick, I'll start with you here. Who's been the star of the series so far, even though it's just been 2 games?
Jacob Duffy, goes without a doubt. That great the great over in the first game, and then for him to take 4 for 15, if I'm not wrong. So again, Sri Lanka is a side that I always feel in this format they should be winning a lot more because they have enough people. If you look at that lineup, Nisanga, Mendes, Kusal Perera, Kusal Perera is always there, and he scored today, but still they lost. So again, I'm not quite sure because they got off to a great start. They were 70 odd for 2, chasing 186. So I felt this was the game that they could level and maybe set up a decider. But yeah, was it to be? Jacob Duffy was too good. So yeah, sadly, kya kare.
What did you make of Patirana's 2 for 97 and 8 overs this series so far?
There is a reason why I didn't speak about it. Sailing है थोड़ा.
अगर आरसीबी होता तो पता है ना अवनीश तो फिर
But New Zealand, Sri
कुछ नहीं,
Lanka,
मैंने नहीं.
what tickled you, Akshay, with regards to all the scorecards and all of that? Because
first T20I, man, like the mockery they made of the chase there. Because I actually saw the game. Like I really haven't seen a lot of games. I feel I should probably not be seeing that many. But they were 115, 121 for no loss. हमने start किया match देखना when they were at 100 for no loss. We were like, boss, यहाँ से तो आसानी से match जीत जाएंगे. They were chasing 173 or 174. Bro, the way they collapsed like a pack of cards, and that itself would be an understatement to describe that. Like, it was so horrifying. Nissanka got off to a great start. It was so good to see Nissanka also do well, yeah, because we've always, at least I personally always looked at him as primarily an ODI batter who can also do well in Test cricket. But T20 has maybe अच्छा करते हुए देखना बहुत, मतलब it's nice to see. He was partnered ably by Kushal Mendes, but even then, यार Nissanka ने जो खेला, उसके बाद it was well within their reach. Well, they needed about 15-7 overs in 6.5 overs. Oh my goodness! Yeah, it was awful. It was awful to see that.
Arnav Singh, you're spot on, because I was actually kind of happy with Tushar. I think 1 for 25, none for 28. Decent, but again, he's a backup. So essentially, looking at all this international cricket with an RCB lens sometimes helps. But like Zeus also
Did
said,
you watch
brother,
Bethill's dismissal, by the way, today?
Sorry?
Did you watch Bethill's dismissal today?
No.
He got out bowled to a waist high full toss.
He's doing all his rubbish acts right now before he dons the RCB shirt. So it's okay in that way. Zeus just spot on over there. Greg Singh, Sri Lanka in the first T20 losing after 100 plus opening partnership. Yeah, indeed. We just spoke about that. Also, just to give you guys an update in case you're wondering, this is a 3-match T20 series. 2-0 is where Sri Lanka are losing right now. They also have an ODI series to play and then F off back to Sri Lanka where they take Australia on. So it's bizarre because I think New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Knicks, when we were there in Gurkirat's wedding in Delhi, you were watching the one happening in Sri Lanka. Now everything is going there. So it's a white ball series in back-to-back succession for both these teams.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of crazy.
New Zealand have replaced India. I mean, if you look at it figuratively and with Sri Lanka also.
No, that's true. That is true. Before we talk about the Big Bash League, Akshay's already insinuated Bethel's dismissal in one of the games, waist high full toss. What else has been happening in the Big Bash League? And then we'll get to the Vijay Hazare. I thought of saving the Vijay Hazare. The BBL for last, but we'll start with the BBL then. Again, talk to me, lads. What stands out in terms of moments this week from the BBL?
Warner ने आज 50 मारा. बहुत slow था.
Stars losing. Routine stuff basically. Stars losing and everybody else doing okay. Baki Billings played well. I think that was a game that I was absolutely very shocked by. So good turn, well done to Sam Billings. First inning may set up a good score for Thunder.
और आज Billings किस तरीके से out हुआ Will Sutherland. एक तो हर मैच में there's been a blinder. Today it was Will Sutherland. He took a blinder. By the way, Brent Duckett's hit 6 fours of 6 balls. Since Yuril Axel mentioned Duckett, he scored 6 bounties in an over against Akil Hossain. That was fun to watch. James wins. He's now become a bona fide BBL legend. पता नहीं कहीं और नहीं खेलता BBL में आके फेल के जाता है.
He got it done on Boxing Day itself. Yeah.
Every time I look at the Big Bash, I think about how normally Perth Scorchers have always been like almost the Mumbai Indians / Chennai Super Kings of it. But even this year, to see the Sydney teams on top is quite ridiculous because they've always been languishing at the bottom. Melbourne has just been shocking 5 defeats in 5. So I don't know what Stoinis and the boys are like not cooking up there. But lots of...
Check out Phil Allen's score. Sorry.
Yes.
Check out the number of ducks. I am...
That's what just... I was just saying the BBL, sometimes you look at the scorecards, look at the highlights, you might not gain so much from it. But then you look at some of the, subplots in terms of personal stories like Phil Allen. Oh my God, he wants to get out of Australia right now with the BBL happening right now. there. It's nuts. But let's just wrap up with Vijay Hazare, lads, because we spoke about it last week. What is the update this week from the 50 over comp domestically? We want to talk about to our friends in the chat.
Yeah, I remember a couple of games. Yeah, Agarwal ka great knock that. Who did he went past? He went past Karun and nahi. He went past whose record? Robin Uthappa's record. Sorry. Robin Uthappa's record. And Arshdeep taking a 5 run.
That Mayank game was what? Karnataka, Arunachal Pradesh. We chased 170.
In 14 overs. Abhinav Manohar was was sent in. He went to open with Mayank Agarwal. They just wanted to make sure run rate ke hisab se kuch issue na ho, so they just blasted. Already Mayank Agarwal bowled, by the way, so he got a wicket as well. So that was another thing. बाकी तो मैंने विजय हजारे ज्यादा नहीं देखा. सीनियर वुमेन्स ओडीआई ट्रॉफी देखा. उस पे अपडेट चाहिए तो हम खुशी बताएंगे. MP won today, by the way.
I think we could save that for the women's cricket podcast, which has been doing well by itself. Go check that out and give some love to Akshay and Neha and that. They've already done 4 episodes, and the next episode hits us very soon. Other stuff, which is just results-wise at the what's been happening in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. Lots more games to come, of course. The final is still in 2-3 weeks' time from now in Vadodara. So we'll give you updates as we go along in MNL. Right, time to just wrap up. But before that, planning to win an Akshay's quiz in Howzzaat, and also to tell you who the winner was from last week. But next week or this week, there's still cricket. Despite the New Year's and the festivities, there's 3 cracking games on the 2nd of Jan. Zimbabwe, Afghanistan, the 2nd test. Will it be another run fest? Only time will tell. New Zealand, Sri Lanka playing there for pride. And South Africa, Pakistan. You could say the same thing with Pakistan as well, because South Africa now are through. They'll want to keep some sort of momentum in the longest format. And then Australia, India, the Sydney test starts on the 3rd, the Friday. And you can join all our reactions on that in all the shows, the coverage, and so on and so forth. So lots of international cricket, apart from that BBL action, which we've not included here. Right. Great show so far. 1 hour, 36 minutes done and dusted. And it's time to move on to the penultimate part of the show, which is, of course, the quiz. How's that? Akshay, take it away. Last week, you had a lot of guys go mad in the comments, and some of them got it right, but there was one man who did get it right. And who was it?
So, पहले एक तो question ही दिखा देते हैं, and of course I will announce the winner. Last week's question was, of course, about the Boxing Day test that was supposed to happen. Of the 49 Boxing Day tests, this was also the 50th Boxing Day test in this millennium, so another landmark in that sense. So, of the 49 Boxing Day tests played in this millennium, only 3 players have collected 2 Boxing Day Player of the Match awards: Dale Steyn, Matthew Hayden, and Mitchell Johnson. And only 1 other player has collected 3 such awards, ID the player. So this was the question asked last time around. The correct answer, of course, was Jacques Kallis. He's the only one with 3 Player of the Match awards in Boxing Day tests in this millennium. Add the one that he got in the last millennium as well. He's the only one with 4 Boxing Day Player of the Match awards. So, I mean, the legend that he is when it comes to this format, it just goes on to show. A lot of you got it right, but unfortunately, there can always be just the one lucky winner, and that is Alok Mishra. Congratulations on getting it right. Please do DM us on our Twitter handle, and our social media team will take care of it. Fun fact, Jacques Kallis also got those 3 Player of the Match awards in consecutive years, 2002, 3 and 4. साथ में एक साथ उन्होंने लिया था, तो भाई साहब गजब ही फॉर्म में थे तब. This time around, another question for you guys. There we go. This is this week's Howzzaat. Something happened on day 5 of the MCG test that helped a certain player stay on top of a truly unusual list. A list that boasts of Kumar Roach and Vakar Yunus, with Kukhiso Rabada being the latest entrant joining yesterday. ID the player, and what is this list all about? So once again, there's a list. All I want you guys to identify is who is this guy who is on top of the list and what happened today that actually ensured that he stayed on top of the list. So I want the name and what the funda about this list is. Kafi simple hai, thoda dimag laga. Hopefully you will get it right. Once again, guys, please wait for the live stream to end to key in your answers. Please make sure you enter your answers only at the end of the live stream in the main comment section in order to be eligible to win yourself a 500 rupee Amazon voucher from us. So that's that from this week's Howzzaat.
That's an interesting one because you think about Kumar Roach and Makar Yunus being actually capable batters lower down the order, like Kagiso Rabada was last night. So, good one for us to think about. Let us know in the, not the live chat, in the comments after the show. Right, time to just wrap up proceedings and what's been truly a great MNL, the final one of 2024. And it is just the perfect way to end proceedings of the year with you guys who've been so special in the 12th man segment. Right, a lot of questions we kind of attract towards ourselves in this particular podcast. We'll take a few right now, as bizarre as few are. The comments as well, which have been coming through. Yes, good to great. I said Vakar is a capable batter, not in terms of like an all-rounder, but you know what I mean. Like, don't annoy on a Monday evening, mate. Come on. Anyway, let's of course pick out some good questions. If you guys haven't fired in your questions, you still have the next 2-3 minutes to do so. I'll pick out some of the best ones. Good to great saying, when will we see Dhoni and BBL captaining aside? That's never going to happen. There was one good comment from Akash, slightly emotional. Cricket will be nothing for me once Rohit or Virat retires or forced to retire. 2013 was my father's last year of watching cricket. 2025 can be my last year of watching cricket passionately. Do you think this year, or rather the next 2025, we will see Virat retire from a certain format and maybe Rohit as well?
Yeah, potentially. But there's one thing to tell you, Akash. See, you can understand to some players are far more personal, and I have had such favorites as well. But even the journey after that is equally more enriching because you get to then be very, very unbiased in terms of how you look at the game. So don't worry about your favorites going off. You'll surely get somebody else to follow, and hopefully Virat will give you a good return gift, and even Rohit maybe next year.
Yeah, that's the hope which kills us. Let's move on and take another question. Guys, just a quick question. Like KL said in the pre-series press conference that this might be his second innings in his test career. Guys, do you think KL now will have one extended run in one position next? Akshay, take that question.
I wish I could say yes to that, but if I do say yes, what's that one position? चार टेस्ट में चार पोजीशन पे तो खेल चुका है बंदा.
One position for one test.
वैसा, हाँ, then fair, yeah, you're relaxed person. So his extended run will be for one test. फिर हर position में ऐसे जब मन किया यहाँ पे, जब मन किया वहाँ पे वैसे करते रहेंगे. But I really hope getting back to the question, I really hope number 6, if that's the position they've earmarked for him, I just hope come the England series, he plays each of those 5 tests and starting the next WTC cycle, he is the designated number 6, irrespective of what happens. दे दो भाई अभी एक प्रॉपर लंबा रन यहाँ पे दे दो. If you trust the guy and his talent, there's no better way of making the batter also feel secure and confident about their skills. So I just hope they do that. But do I think they'll do that? यार उसके लिए मेरे पास सही में जवाब नहीं, because गंभीर का भी it's too small a sample size. So far we've seen him coach only for 10 tests, जिसमें 3 न्यूजीलैंड का वो व्हाइट वॉश वाला था, फिर 3 बांग्लादेश का, पता नहीं कितना बेटी जिसपे भी हम दे सकते हैं. So I'll hold on to my thoughts. I genuinely don't know what will happen, but I do hope that they do give him some positional security over there.
Okay, speaking of positions, John Baby asked us earlier this show. Next, I'll give this one to you. Send NKR up the order? Question mark.
Where is the spot? Where is the opening to send that? I mean, opening bowl wrong. Don't open with it. There is no other place available apart from 5. 5 is the highest that you can go. So, yeah, 5 or 6.
Okay, fair enough. You saying, looking at the history of the Indian cricket team, I'm pretty sure Rohit will retire before Virat. Virat will be given a long rope even if he doesn't perform, even though both of them are a liability to the team. I agree with you in some sense. I feel like both of them, of course, I mean, it's just rather the mill in terms of Indian cricket and how it's been operating for the longest time possible. More questions to take right now. Ajay Chawla saying, talk about Smith and his 4 dismissals in his last 4 innings. He isn't looking weak, I would say, just some horrible shots. I think India have kind of figured out a little chink in his armor, bowling it wide. outside off stump and trying to kind of suss him with that dangling the carrot outside off stump. Is it more to it, Nicks, Akshay, with Smith's dismissals?
भाई 2 टन तो मार लिया यार, उसके बाद कैसे भी आउट हो, आई डोंट गिव अ या अक्षय गो।
नहीं, मेरा भी वही था, like if I'm not wrong, did you guys miss कि वो 140 मारा था ये टेस्ट में, कि मैं कुछ और देखा? क्या फर्क पड़ता है, जो चिंक है 100 रन मारने के बाद अगर if you're getting him out, there's no chink, that means there's no chink. So Ajay, I wouldn't, if I were a part of the Australian think tank, I wouldn't think too much into it. I'd be like, Smith चाचा, आप मजे करो, अगला मैच तो घर पे है तो और भी मजे करो.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay, fine.
the
Sorry,
only
Nicks.
India is they have started to add more people who they have to get very early. It was only Travis had before. Marnus added to the list. Steve Smith added to the list. The number is just growing. So we don't want.
Yeah, I love how Bumrah said on Stump Mike saying he's the luckiest batsman the world has ever seen to Marnus. It was so fucking hilarious, brilliant. By the way, Santosh Sharpa asking us, continuing with the 12th man chat, why are people not giving SL chance for the WTC final? They can very well 2-0 sweep versus Australia at goal, and they need to hope for a draw. It could happen. It could happen. We've seen funny things happen before. Prabhat Jayasuriya and Destiny. I was just basically saying that to Som on the WhatsApp chat, but that could very well happen. Fricky Gossam saying like MCG Test will move in a slow phase at the SCG as well in the WTC history. Besides Australia, no team has got 350 plus at SCG. Also, it is difficult to post a result at the SCG if 4 teams play well. There is also the whole subplot of the rain happening.
Yeah.
So that's something that needs to be taken in consideration. There was a weird comment from, who was it? Ramana Kiran, who said 2 questions for 12th man segment, but then he or she hasn't posted. So, Ramana, if you have any, shoot it right now because we're literally going to be logging out in a minute or so. There was one question that I wanted to give the boys from Zeus. Mistakes are fine. After all, it's just a game of cricket. But one thing I'll never understand is why does every controversial decision go against top teams always go against us? I think he's talking about the Jaiswal dismissal. And I felt initially it was just out, bro. I mean, I don't know why Snicko didn't show up. The processes I'll fault, not the actual dismissal. I was more ticked off about Akashdeep at first sight. And then that whole replay where it showed another red mark being produced after the ball. So I was like, okay, fine, cool. Maybe it got a snick. But again, Snicko should just be, it should be a process where Snicko shows yes, this shows that. And then it's the third umpire. And I'm not blaming the Bangladeshi third umpire in this call. But look, Indian fans will kind of cry about it because the result went against us. But what do you guys make of it? Out, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, to be very clear, guys, technology exists to assist the third umpire. So in any case and in every case, the third umpire will supersede the technology. Jo bhi ho. It is always up to the third umpire's discretion. Apart from Hawkeye, where it's Hawkeye saying pitching in line, impact in line, wickets hitting. Apart from that, every other decision is up to the third umpire's discretion. And it's very clear, yeah. Like, I couldn't, for the love of God, understand what optical illusion were people referring to. See that deflection, yaar. I know Snicko, that was a proper howler with Snicko, and Snicko wasn't working. Where maybe the third umpire could have been smarter was, if I'm assuming that is, he knew that the Snicko meter wasn't working. Then he did not even have to go to it. यार तुम्हें साफ deflection दिख रहा है, क्या प्रूव करना चाहते हो? Snicko meter से दिख तो रहा है, साफ की लगा है, ग्लव है, बैट और कुछ है नहीं आसपास. Unless you believe in ghosts or some superpower, like it was just very funny to watch the whole discourse around it. So we need to understand that. And guys, again, I know cricket is very different from other sports when it comes to the way technology is used and the amount of dependency there is on technology, but umpire's call exists for a reason. We've spoken about this before as well, because there is a question. I mean, since Good to Great also mentions that should umpire's call be gotten rid of as it provides ridiculously defined logic. Yeah, we need to understand this technology isn't foolproof. So cricket is the only sport where an umpire has to judge, like the ball has not actually gone and hit the stumps. The ball's only hit the leg. So the path between the leg and the stumps has to be charted or has to be penned down by the umpire. it's up to the umpire's discretion, and similarly, it's up to the technology's discretion. It's never happened. The event actually hasn't happened, unlike football, unlike VAR in football or in tennis, where the event has actually happened. So it's a lot more easier to use technology to understand those rules. I mean, understand those whatever offside ho ya jo bhi ho. But that's not the case with cricket, which is why umpire's call is necessary. क्योंकि technology से भी गलती हो सकती है. तो बस यही है भाई और कुछ नहीं. So it's this was bizarre. Probably ZS. I feel it's just another case of confirmation bias यार. हम सबको वैसा लगता है. I as an RCB fan always feel RCB is the unluckiest. वो होता है. Maybe it could also be the case, but वो होता है यार. I mean, it's not a controllable. It's an uncontrollable. So we just have to move on. We have to live with it, take it in our stride, and move on.
The one which really pissed me off this series was the one which KL got out to when his bat hit his. And that was the one which really left like a sour taste in my mouth. But let's move on. Akshay spoke about football, and Chant points out the whole United jersey that I'm wearing. I'm trying to channelize my inner Andre Onana to stop the goals going in. And I know there's Newcastle to end the year this year. So it's a 1:30 kickoff, but who cares? I don't have work tomorrow. And it's fine. Right. Time to, of course, say goodbye to all of you all and wish you all a happy new year. Nix, Akshay, what are your plans for 31st? Are you guys going to be spending some quality time home with the family, or are you guys going to go out?
Yeah, I'm already out with my wife and daughter. So Nainital it will be hopefully good, shanti, normal food, music, dance, chill.
Okay, Akshay, where are you going to go?
अपना तो है भाई पार्टी. अभी जस्ट मेरे को इनवाइट आ भी चुका है, तो कल अपन जा रहा है, खूब सारा दारू पी रहा है. Let's hope there aren't too many drunk messages floating around, social media. But yeah, all's well that ends well. Guys, I hope you also will have a great New Year's Eve and also a fantastic 2025. Amish, what are your plans though? HSR once again?
I might go to the girl's house. Let's see. She might put up a little sweet scene for me, get a cheese board and a whiskey and stuff like that. So if you're watching the show, whoever you are, I can't give you names because then I know my crowd will just be onto you on socials. But hopefully there's a quiet new year. You know what I mean? Like instead of just going out and spending 15K, 20K, whatever you guys are doing, whoever's watching this show right now, a happy new year to all of you guys from all of us at cricket.com, from me, Akshay and Nix here. But also you guys will catch Somesh and Vikas in just a bit. So you guys can go and spam them with Happy New Year chats from the Monday Night Live stuff. And good to great. Wish you too, man. And wish all of you lovers of cricket.com, Parth, Greg, I think there's Noodle with Vasant. There's so many cool cats who've always featured on our show in terms of the comments. Wish all you guys the best of luck and happiness in 2025. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Apart trying to fit in a last question, saying one question, did you see the T20 International Player of the Year nominee? It's just a joke. We haven't, but maybe that'll make me chuckle after the show.
It is a joke. Babar Azam is a part of the list. It's a joke. T20 Player of the Year, Babar Azam, and breakthrough performance was his knock against Ireland. So it's a joke. It's a joke. Let's just leave it.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's see if there's better things to laugh at in 2025. We'll see you next week, next MNL. I think we'll be in the midst of the 5th test in Sydney. But nonetheless, good to see you guys as always and have a fantastic year ahead. Peace out and make it a safe 2024 New Year's Eve. Cheers.
Cheers. Take care.
Cheers. Where is it?